We're live! Diaper! Gerbo.
Yeah.
Episode... What episode is this? 7.
7, yeah.
Episode 7. I'm taking this hat off because my headphones are not on the right way and we will not be able to record the right way. Why are you looking at me like that, Aiden? Alright, so special guest today is my ego. Is Sam is Sam Marzula. So Sam's my best friend.
Yes, sir.
And also is in the financial services industry because I can't find any other guests that want to get on my podcast. So, to the one listener, Sam's dad, Sam's mom, maybe somebody from here, Aiden, who's going to edit it. You 7 people, I hope you enjoy this. So, we're going to go ahead and get started as soon as I take this shit up. Let's pull this up over the top. Let's start with where were you born, young man?
Where was I born? So, I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Wexford, Pennsylvania.
Dude, you grew up there.
Yes.
Stupid. That's dope. So, grew up in Pittsburgh. And you got a unique story. So you grew up in Pittsburgh, grew up in Wexford, obviously, for anybody that knows what we're talking about. You can search and check it out. Early memories from growing up. What was that like growing up?
In Wexford?
Just in general. Just growing up. Early memories, cool things, unique things that stick out to you.
First thing that comes to mind when I think about early memories is, as a kid, I always felt like I had to be doing something. I was always into something. I always wanted to go somewhere. I couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember, like, being a little kid, whether it was, you know, playing out in the dirt or running around in the woods.
Nothing better than the dirt.
That's right. The dirt.
It's all I had growing up. You rich bitch.
But yeah, it was cool. Like, it was,
did you guys move at all? When was your dad's career? He was very successful. So when did that take off? Was he already pretty successful when you were born?
So I grew up in the same house my entire life. So we never moved.
He's definitely lived below his means.
For sure. Yeah.
Way below his means.
Yeah, definitely. My father was in sales. I remember it for him. I remember it really taking off in my early teens for him. I just remember,
Was that time where he came up to you with that check? I was like, look what I did.
That's when I kind of got access to, or the understanding of what could be made in sales. You know, what the potential was.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, my dad, he's my best friend.
Yep.
I spent a lot of time with him, so I was able to see kind of that day-to-day life on, what he would do, and he would kind of bring me in on everything. I would sit there, listen to his his conference calls.
You said con calls. What does that mean?
Conference calls.
He was like, my dad.
So, so I got... Growing up, I got to see that, and to high school, I feel like it was a pretty normal life.
How'd baseball go?
Well, why are you asking about baseball? Because I played baseball in middle school. I mean, it was like an extra thing.
Yep. Did your mom take you out
to play baseball?
And she put you out of the field? Tell you no more baseball?
I probably stopped playing baseball. I don't know. It was a couple years. I did a bunch of stuff. I did taekwondo and stuff I would do for 3 months, and then.
Yeah.
Do you got the lighter?
Yeah.
Where's your cigar?
It's down below. I'm gonna have to find a way to reach. You worked on a farm though at a young age. Where the heck did you find this? Christ. Ship it to China! When are we going to get Alex Jones on this podcast or Tim Dillon? Can we DM them? Where can we find them?
Gotta get them on
I
there.
don't even know.
I will pay you, Alex Jones, to get on this podcast.
That so you brought up
That farm, dude. I'm gonna grab my cigar. Yeah.
that was my first job. So I was 14, and there's a loop in the agricultural industry where I forget what the minimum age is in Pennsylvania. Someone can start legally working, like be on payroll. I think it was like 15 or 16, but I was 14 at the time, and I don't even know how I came across me wanting to work on this farm.
Yeah.
But I did for like,
It's for sure. It's like 16 or something.
yeah. But I was 14 when I did it. But it was like, it was a seasonal job.
And it was a chicken farm?
It was just like a regular farm. Like, well, it wasn't. It was a farm, and it they had like a market there, and so I just kind of did like a bunch of work, or I kind of did everything. You know, I like worked in the market and like stocked shelves and did random tasks. But that was my first job. Like I said, I was 14, and I probably worked there like for like 6 or 7 months, and then my second job, I think I had turned, I was like 15, started working at a bakery, and I worked there for 2 years. I was hired as a dishwasher, and I definitely worked past the legal amount that a child can work. I'd get into work right after school.
Dude, why'd you work so hard?
Why did I work so hard?
Yeah, what the hell did you... You've always been a hard worker. And your work kind of corresponds with your heart. When your heart's in a place, there's nothing that stops you. That's what makes you unique. But like, so when did this start? And it had to have been from your dad. Because everything's a reflection of leadership. Everything kind of rises and falls in leadership. So like...
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think obviously seeing my father and his work ethic, in growing up around that, I think I definitely, it was just being around that, you know, that instilled that in me. And plus, I don't know, I feel like I've always been kind of...
Just naturally, you've just been a worker.
Yeah.
You knew you wanted to be rich or wealthy.
Yeah.
Taking care of you, like nice things.
Mm-hmm.
Love traveling. That's your number one thing.
Yeah.
Traveling for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that. Because, I mean, we're going to spend a good 30 minutes on like the places you've been, the experiences with that.
Yeah.
But my favorite story you told me, dude, was, you know, as we met, you know, early in my career, probably one of your first legitimate jobs as well, is you telling me all the money you had saved up, 40 grand or something, and you'd put a certain amount of money on like your fan as a kid, and you turned the fan on.
I don't know why, and that's funny that you remember that. Yeah, so I mean, as a kid, like I just worked a lot. I don't know, I felt like there wasn't really much to do, like nothing, you know, I liked making money, so I would just save my money, and as a 15, 16-year-old, at least for me, I didn't know what to spend it on, or I didn't really have a desire to spend it on anything. So
Yeah, you had to be the richest, like when it came to like your own funds.
Yeah,
Because by the time you came to work with us, you had like 40, 50 grand.
yeah, what I would do, so like when I was working at that farm and when I was working at the bakery, I would just cash my paychecks. I don't know why, I would just cash them, and I would have like a stack of cash in this little safe in my basement. And I loved holding money.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I loved...
Arr!
Yeah.
Me treasure.
Yeah, just holding money. And
Arr!
you brought up about how I would put it on the fan this one time.
Blackbird.
Because like I would just, on some of the days that I wasn't working, I would just sit upstairs and just hold this big stack of cash and just watch TV with it. And we have a ceiling fan in the TV room, and I don't know why, but I took the cash and I put it broke it up into little stacks, and I put it on top of this ceiling fan. And I did this multiple times. I don't know, I was probably like 14, 15. And I would turn the fan on, and it would just rain money in like our living room.
In
And I
your
would
living
do-
room?
Yeah, I would do that at like.
I thought it was in
4.
your room. Wait,
No.
you were 4?
No, like at like 4 in the afternoon.
Oh,
like when I
okay.
got back home from
Yeah.
school.
Dude, what was your favorite food like growing up? Like mine was like peanut butter and jelly. Like coming home from elementary school, nothing beat like a PB&J.
I mean,
I know
feel
you
like
guys had a
normal
lot of
stuff-
steak.
it wasn't like. I mean, I had normal stuff like
Steak!
a grilled cheese and like a hot dog,
Grilled
like,
cheese and steak.
Yeah.
Hot dog, steak.
like chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets and steak.
You know, I didn't really like start eating a lot of steak until I was probably like in my late teens and like now, but yeah.
Because you guys would go out with the company card.
I mean,
You guys would
those
go
were
with
client dinners.
Hey, come on, client time. A5 Wagyu for you.
Yeah, so it's,
Yoo-hoo, Cindy Lou.
we
Your mom loves Biden.
yeah. What? No, she doesn't.
Cindy, I'm playing. It's time to vaccinate. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But yeah, I mean,
We're outside and we're the vaccine team.
I would save up my money and then I would work, and then after the bakery I worked there for a couple years, and then what did I do after that? During the summer I worked at a summer camp. That was crazy. I feel like every job
You
that
told me the bakery's job sucked so bad because the manager there, if we're thinking about the same one, I'm
Oh,
going to put him
yeah.
on blast. But he's so sarcastic.
Wait, who what?
You said he was like very sarcastic. Like he was just very sarcastic.
No, he wasn't sarcastic. He was like
a dick.
yeah,
he was
this
actually
guy-
a dick.
Yeah, he was nuts. Like it was, we talk about all this like leadership stuff and like how to
How to lead like
work
Tristan.
together and all these things. Like I remember I was standing there washing dishes and I was 14 or something, and and I said, yeah, like I'm excited to work with you, and he's like, correction, you're not working with me, you're working for me.
I remember that.
And I was just like, what? Like that doesn't. So
I'm gonna start opening up all my meetings like that from now on. Take a look around this room. You know what you all have in common? You work for me, not with me, for me.
yeah, I was like,
Get up here and scrub my boots.
but so working all these different jobs and working like I was, and I think this played a big part into who I am now, because even though sometimes I don't seem mature, I feel like
I think the most mature people are the ones that can accept their immaturity and just that
Exactly.
freedom.
But so through working at these jobs, I was always working with people who were older than me. Like
Yes.
people, I was 15 and I was working with people in their mid-20s, late 20s.
Yeah.
And I was around them all the time. So I was always around an older group of people.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely, because people always say, you seem older than what you really are to me.
Yeah.
They think I'm older. So, and like I was saying, every job that I've worked ever since working on a farm, I feel like it's just gotten crazier and crazier. I went from the bakery, then I worked at a summer camp.
That
was
summer
crazy.
camp was crazy.
That
We
was
won't
great.
get into all of that,
No,
but
we're not gonna get into those
we
stories.
could, but
Yeah, no.
we could.
No, we're not. And then after that, I worked at a nonprofit out in Los Angeles.
Oh, we could get into that. Do we want to shout them out? I don't know. Are they still
Yeah.
doing well?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
their
Thirst
Thirst Project.
Yeah, so I worked with them. I was a contracted speaker for them for a year. So I graduated high school in 2016.
You met some cool people.
Yeah, I met
Who's
a lot.
that one beautiful girl you met?
There's a lot of beautiful women that I've
Just
met.
that one though. You know.
The one that you know.
Oh, I don't think I know.
No, you know.
Who?
Anyways. So, I was a contracted speaker for a nonprofit organization in Los Angeles. And I graduated high school in 2016. I went to community college fall semester of 2016. And then all of 2017, I took a gap year and I worked for this nonprofit as a contracted speaker. So myself and another person, we drove around the country for a full year. And would, you know, speak at schools, colleges, high schools, stuff like that, and to raise money for building water projects in developing countries.
Yeah, that was sweet. That was
So-
really dope. And you grew. Well, you obviously made you were a large role in growing the social media account from a couple hundred followers, if that, to was it 70,000?
It was it was like it was a little under 100,000. So the spring semester and the fall semester of 2017, that was the time that myself and the other person, we were traveling around the country, and we weren't flying, we were driving. We drove literally all around.
So that was a lot of traveling there. You and your dad
Yeah.
did a lot of traveling also. I think your senior year or something.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, that was dope.
Yeah.
And then you did a lot of traveling through that. What were some of the cool places in the midst of the traveling that you got to experience?
Through Thirst Project?
Really just through
general?
through those teenage years, nothing to us, because then you did more traveling with over the last 4 years. You've done some dope traveling too.
So because when I really started to travel was when I started to work with that nonprofit with Thirst Project. So, but I mean, leading up to that, my
Still
dad,
cool states like those places like out in like Utah.
Mhm.
There's places out in Nevada, like those cool like
places, that are like people don't usually like they're not out there. You know, like kind of find them, but
dope looking places though.
Yeah, they. So before Thirst Project, my dad and I, we took a couple road trips with our first road trip that him and I took, and you know, I mean, he like we were talking about, he was in sales, so he kind of had the flexibility, you know, to kind of do that. He was still working while we went on these road trips, but I think it was 2015, 2014 or something. We drove around the country, so we took 3 weeks, and it was like the end of summer or whatever. And at the time, I was real big into like photography and stuff.
Yeah. You had a big photography account too.
Mm-hmm. And that's before I found insurance. That's what I thought I was gonna get into, was like social media and all that. So we took 3 weeks. We drove around the country. We basically made like a big circle around the United States. Following year, took off 2.5, 3 weeks. We drove all the way up the East Coast into Maine, and then went into Canada, and then
Quebec.
Yeah. We didn't spend much time in Quebec, but we were up in Canada. We went into like Nova Scotia,
Alberta.
Yeah. Do you know your parts of Canada? Because you're just naming random. That's not even on the. I think that's.
I don't know shit about Canada.
But so we traveled, and then like I said, 2017, when I first started at that nonprofit, we spent a month kind of like training and, you know, going over like what we would, you know, speak about and all these things.
Water and wells.
Mm-hmm. And then we drove around the country, and we went to a bunch of different places, met a lot of cool people through that, and then.
Who was the coolest person
that I met?
Yeah.
So with Thirst Project, I met DJ Khaled. I met Alexis Wren. Who else? It's when you go out to LA, there are so many people that, especially Thirst Project, that they're connected.
Well, Cali's basically done now as a state now, so it's good you got your time in there. I never got to visit before.
Yeah, that's sad that you didn't get to.
It's just a homeless communist state now.
LA is my favorite city. I love.
Still? It's filled.
Out of anywhere in the world that I've ever been in my entire life, Los Angeles is my favorite city.
Have you ever seen like World War Z?
It's been like a while. I don't know.
You know what it's about?
Do aliens go to Los Angeles?
No, it's zombies. World War Z.
Oh, because I'm thinking of what's that War of the Worlds or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they go to Los Angeles.
That's basically that's basically what LA is now. It's just a zombie world out there. It's just a bunch of homeless people running around.
Los Angeles, it does have a big.
And I'm not trying to offend anybody that has any homeless relatives and friends. You know what I mean? I grew up basically homeless myself, so I'm just saying there's absolutely a problem out there in regard to the homeless situation.
It's getting better though.
What do you mean it's getting better?
I think it's getting better.
You just hope it's getting better so you can travel there.
I would go there anyway. Anyway,
The last dude I just talked to said he was there with his mom eating like a crab sandwich or something, and somebody pulled up right beside him, got out and sat down and started smoking crack.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's Los Angeles. It's like New York. Like it's.
Oh, it's cool. Just sit here, drink some heroin.
I think anything can happen in those major cities. But what was I talking about? So we drove around the country for the spoken schools, and then the summer of 2017, I interned with Thirst Project with the social media manager, and then I mean I was more so focused on building social media and helping out with that, and I would DM like influencers like YouTubers and Instagram influencers from the nonprofit account, and I would set up these meetings with
What would that DM look like? Hey, sorry about my water.
kind of like how we can work together. How can we partner together to help you out so you can help us out.
You would have DM me from that water page, and I would have sent you a clip of Water Boy. Water sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah, no, I did a lot of DMing celebrities and influencers, and it was cool.
So you were already used to like the selling and cold calling in a sense, like cold reaching out in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that job definitely put me out of my comfort zone. I mean,
Build up your communication skills, sales skills, because you came in bold.
It was, yeah, I mean, when we first started, I mean, we had to set up presentations at schools, so we had a script, like, and we would have call days, like during that month of training, we would call these schools and we'd set up assemblies and stuff, and then I got, like you said, through communication or building up communication skills, it was, I mean, we would do presentations the size of, there were 5 people, and then all the way up to, I think the largest that I would do was 800, 900 people for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We would talk about it. And everywhere in between. And we did that for 2 semesters, and then, like I said, during the summer, I helped build social media, or help with the social media, and then that winter, so once the fall semester of 2017 was over, I still stayed in Los Angeles and worked, did help with social media. And then 2018 came around, I went to, and I knew it was an internship, so I didn't know it was like I knew it wasn't going to be a long-term thing or a career or whatever. That more solidified me wanting to do like social media and marketing and stuff like that. So I did a year at college, and my major was marketing, and that was 2018. So I was back in Pittsburgh, and this is kind of leading into how I met, or how I got involved in the financial services industry. So 2018, I was in school and I was going for marketing, and I just had this like gut feeling like something's gonna happen in my life, like something, even though I didn't really know the direction or like what I wanted, but so I would go to school, and towards the end of 2018, in college wasn't really for me. I was never big into like partying or whatever. And the school that I went to, it was an hour north of Pittsburgh, so I had a dorm up there, and I just didn't like it. It wasn't for me. So I would actually commute, even though I had
I remember
a dorm. Yeah. So it was the fall semester of 2018. And I remember it like it was yesterday. So I had classes on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So I would go to class, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays I would just stay in Pittsburgh, because I didn't have class, so there was no reason for me to go up there. So it was either a Tuesday or a Thursday, and I was back in Pittsburgh, and I was at a coffee shop, and I was sitting there, and I had a hoodie on, and I had my hood up, and I was slouched back on my computer, just
Yep, I already can tell.
working on my computer, working on homework,
Working on the railroad.
Yeah,
It's like your Pat.
yeah, just like with Pat. And then my pap was actually in sales too. I'm third generation in sales.
He built a railroad, I thought.
He worked on the railroad, yeah, but also he sold cookware door to door. He was in
He
sales.
sold Pamper Chef.
Yeah, what? I don't know. I don't know what he sold.
Pamper Chef.
I know it was cookware, but
Yeah.
I'll always remember what
Mom used to do that.
my dad always says this all the time. So my dad said if my grandfather sold one set of cookware, he would make what he would make in an entire week on the railroad. If he just sold one
I thought you got railroad bonds.
I think I do. What is that? So he would if he sold one set of cookware.
Yep.
Okay. He would make as much as he would make in a week.
Awesome.
Working on the railroad. Easy email.
Yep.
And I emailed Katie and CC'd him on the email, and we set up a meeting, and then went to the office in Wexford, and that's how I met Simon. Yep. Our agency owner. So we always joke. He said bring up the Wolf of Wall, or cue the Wolf of Wall Street story. It was almost identical to, if you've ever seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, where Jonah Hill goes up to Leonardo DiCaprio in the diner, and it's talking to him like, show me a paycheck for $70,000 or whatever that you made in a month, and I'll quit my job and work for you. And it essentially went like that.
It basically did.
As soon as I found out what was going on, I dropped out of school immediately.
Hell yeah.
I finished the semester, and there wasn't much left of it, but that was November of 2018, and I went in.
Somebody asked, how old are you? Sam is. You're 23 right now.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah, he's 23 right now.
Oh, you're live.
Yeah.
I was like, who?
2,000 people are watching.
I was like, who asked?
Flipper the goat. What up, Flipper?
Flipper the goat.
Yep.
Yeah. So I went into the office. I met with Simon again, and then he introduced me to Brody.
Yeah.
And at the time, I don't know if I was so inspired or whatever by everything going on. All these young people with nice cars and all that stuff. I don't know if I was but I didn't know what we did probably for a week or so. I had the meeting with Simon, and he's like, my guy Brody, he's gonna take care of you.
Sounds exactly like Simon would say.
And then as he says that, Simon's office door opens, and this big bald guy comes walking in, and he's wearing a suit. And I thought that it didn't seem real. I thought this was I got involved with the mafia or something.
Yes.
So I was like, I don't know what's happening. So Brody comes in, and again, I really didn't know what the heck was going on. And I was just interning with Brody. I was kind of helping him out, and I saw a bunch of young people making a lot of money, and that's when I met you. And I was just getting frustrated with it. I was like, all right, here's Tristan. I just met you. You were, what, you were 19?
What was it?
Or 18.
What was it, 2018?
It was the end of 2018, December.
So I probably just turned
19.
19.
Yeah.
Well, 2007. So I was born in 98. So yeah, I just turned 19.
Yeah. So I was like getting frustrated with it because I was like, what is going on? And Brody, I don't know why, but no matter what job I did throughout my life, I always like worked hard at it. Even though I was working for Brody 3-4 days a week, I would still show up to the office at 7 in the morning before anyone else and get done like whatever he asked me to do, whether it was like set up, an interview or start doing recruiting calls, whatever. I was in there. And I would get pissed because I would get to the office and...
Yes, you can see Sam.
Who is it?
Flipper the Goat is asking to see you.
Who's Flipper the Goat?
I don't know who Flipper the Goat is. This is Sam. Camera so we can see Sam too.
How's it going?
Alright, I want to see you.
So, so Brody would text me. I'd get to the... I would get to the office at 7:30 in the morning or 7.
Yeah.
And I would get pissed because Brody would text me and be like, hey, no need to come in. There's really not anything for you to do. And I would already be at the office and I would wear a suit every day.
Yep.
And I would just be like, I'm already here. It's 7 in the morning. I'm not going home to go back to bed. So, I would call for people and all these different things. And then I was like, okay, what is this? This is something that I've never seen before. A bunch of young people making a lot of money, having a lot of fun, driving nice cars, and I got more into it, and it was selling insurance, and I just once I found out about it, and I was just, again, it was kind of like that thing at the coffee shop with Simon where I just felt like I had to do it. Like there was just this something there. I went home, said to my dad, I said, I want to do this. I want to drop out of school. And he was like, I figured So I went out with a couple of people out, on sales calls and stuff like that. And then you were really the first person that, other than Brody and Simon, because you were 19 again, and you were making a ton of money and all this stuff, and I wanted to be around you. And at that time, you didn't have a team, or you maybe
I think I had
a
Olivia.
couple people.
Didn't I would have had Olivia because she was before you. She had started before you.
Yeah.
So I had just Olivia.
Yeah. So I remember that.
I had just Olivia, and then I had this kid Josh who was really good, and he ended up quitting. But so I had just Olivia.
And I remember it was by that time it was like around December.
Yeah.
And that was the time where it really, I was like really blown away by it was when I helped. I would call for you, and I would go on appointments with you and all this stuff. And I wasn't even a licensed agent. Like I just wanted to go and just see this stuff. So I would call for you and set appointments, and I remember your biggest week I would call.
Yeah, you were like 70% responsible with all the fucking appointments.
Yeah, I would call for you.
Call, door knock.
And that was the week.
Organize, help manage.
Yeah, and
really taxing.
we planned. Yeah, and we planned that week.
Yeah.
Like it was very methodical. So, we went out and I saw you write almost $30,000 worth of business, and that was out in the field. Like we were driving to appointments. It wasn't virtual yet.
It was like we'd wake up 5, 6 a.m. because we would work out. We always do this.
Yeah.
But I think it's like way easier now for the virtual round, especially because you can reflect back to how much of a grind it was in the physical field. And I wish we recorded it. I wish we would have documented it, because it's one thing to tell people about it, and be another thing to show people and be able to reflect back. Maxwell does a phenomenal job of like picture lessons. I wish there was more like video on it of like, dude, you were up beside me. You know what I mean? We'd get up, we'd do our affirmations, we'd say a prayer, we'd work out. Then, and this was all before 7 a.m. We'd be on the road by like 6:30, 7. We're already door knocking, so we got an hour away.
You'd be driving, I'd be calling in the passenger seat. Like it was from the second we woke up to the second that we went to bed, it was just nonstop getting in.
And it was like 4 hours of sleep. I mean, no wonder we were falling asleep behind the wheel, wrecking cars. You wrecked a few times, I wrecked a few times, and building up that car insurance. But it was like, well, the checks were fun, but you're just like me.
Yeah.
I think the thrill for us has always been the process, like a new creative process of something that is slightly monotonous but new, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Yeah.
like the checks are fun, but like this is fun. Like
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know if you ever gotten like Legos as a kid, where it's like it's just like you're building something new, but it's not fun when it's built. It's fun like finding the pieces and putting it together and just sitting there for hours, just like, how does this go to here and this, that, and the other.
And it was such a drastic lifestyle change for me. I was in school, I was 3 days a week. I was taking classes, and to go from that, and like I said, that week was huge.
Yeah,
for
that was
me.
the end of December.
Yeah, where I don't know of any other place where a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old can go out and make 15, 20 grand in a week.
Yeah.
And and then, like I said, that really inspired me, and I was like,
Perkins, that's like our only meal we'd have. We'd eat at Perkins, West Virginia, and I'd be like, all right, we're gonna sleep for 30 minutes, we're gonna eat for 30 minutes, sleep for 30 minutes, and then that's it. We're gonna go back out.
And we would have like 20, 25, 30 appointments on the schedule.
It would be insane. It would be insane. And we just wouldn't stop. It'd be midnight, 1 a.m. We'd still be in houses like, hey, look, I got one more, we gotta do this. And then January, February,
but
we trained, we developed.
Yeah, so
March was when you popped off.
What's funny though is like people think when you're, because I kind of got this in 2019. That 2019 was my first full year selling insurance.
Yeah.
And I had people be like, "You're working too much," or why are you working like this, yada yada. And
so he's leaving out of like how hard he worked on Christmas. He was role playing. He came in on Christmas
Eve,
role playing, and then I was like, "Hey, you should give some presentations because you took a little trip before you officially started." And I was like, "You should actually try to give some live presentations."
Yeah.
And he was presenting in the airport to random people. There was a Chinese dude who presented to.
Yeah.
Yang.
I don't remember.
No, I'm just fine.
So, but like about how like people are saying, you're like working too much, and what I was gonna say is, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had more fun in my entire life. It doesn't feel like work.
I miss those days a lot.
Yeah,
back to those days.
It does. It is so much fun. Like you're yes, you worked a 14-hour day or however long, but it was so much fun. But yeah, so and again, we would both do crazy things. Like it was, I already had a trip planned. And it was like I already paid for the flight and everything. Way before I even started this job. And I went to Paris for 2 weeks.
Did you order an English one?
Yeah. I left New Year's Day to go to Paris in 2019.
Okay, yeah.
And
we were calling and role playing while you were on your trip. You would call and ask questions while you're in Italy. We were role playing. It'd be like
3, 4 in the morning in
your
Italy.
time, and like 11 or midnight my time, and we're role playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would. I had a long layover in Detroit before I flew to Italy, or flew to Paris.
Yep.
So I flew from Pittsburgh to Detroit, and then Detroit to Paris. But in Detroit, I had like a 7-hour layover, and I remember because it's what you did to learn the script, the presentation and all that.
Yes, you did it to the T. Like every single thing you did it to the T.
Read it 16 times.
16 times.
And our
everything I said you did
script
to the T.
was way bigger than what it is now, way longer. It was like 16, 18 pages.
And I think of all the people, John and Rob, pretty close. But like when it comes down to like the T, like right off rip, you were to this day, you're still the only person that was the most coachable person I ever had. Like to the T. Like I would stretch a certain way, and I just did exactly what I did from Simon. And you did the same thing.
Yeah. So
and it was really fulfilling to see.
Yeah, I would read it. I would read this script, and it would take me 45 minutes to read it once.
It was a 10 or 12 page script back then. Now it's like 2 pages.
Yeah.
Tristan.
Yeah. So I would read this script 16 times a day, and it would take me 40 to 45 minutes per time to read it.
Yes.
Yes. And then I would role play it twice.
I hope people are getting this.
After I got done reading it over and over. And while reading it, I would record myself. And then when I wasn't reading it, I would listen to it in the car or whatever. Yeah. But on my way to Paris, I had like 7...
You wake up and you're saying the script. Like this is how much we were like indoctrinating ourselves with this.
I had like a 7-hour layover in Detroit. and I just started going up to random people in the Detroit airport and being like, "Hey, I just started this new sales job.
Mind if I practice?
Can I?" And I met people going to China and all these other places, and like some other people, like I had to battle like real objections there because they thought I was actually trying to sell them like life insurance, and I was like, no, like I can't, I can't, even if I wanted to, like I can't right now. I just want to like say it to you. So I did it with like, I don't know, 5-6 people, and I would do the whole presentation, and I would actually, because at the end of a sale, back when we were in the field, we would take a picture with our client.
Yes.
And I would take pictures. I was taking pictures with these people in the airport.
Come on, get in.
Yeah, while holding up like the folder or whatever.
Larry.
Yeah, and then it was just after that, 2019 was a crazy year. It was like I said, the most fun and
so
life changing. Yeah, and I learned so much. I mean, 2019. I felt in 2019 alone. I feel like I had learned more in that time frame than I did in my entire time in school. Yeah. Because, and again, there's nothing wrong with going to college or anything like that, but I feel like they don't touch on what's necessary in the real world. Yeah. Communication skills. Yeah. Knowing how to sell. Yes.
Financial literacy. World literacy, like just things that apply to the world, real applicable things.
Yeah, and it was 2019 was a blast, and then March was the first month that I really took off and said,
"You made like $10,000, probably 15." I think.
Yeah, it was 15,000.
Yeah,
I made 15,000.
Tallahassee, me, you, Olivia, in that Airbnb.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was the same grind. We were on the same grind.
Yep.
It was the same deal. We'd wake up early, grind it out. She was like just really organized. So she was selling too. She was kind of training, developing, selling, but also like kind of like that like a kind of like, I'm not gonna say like assistant, but she just really brought so much value because she was assisting us in the sense organizing. Yeah, because we both sucked with paperwork. She's intelligent, just a like a killer, just a businesswoman.
Yeah, she was like our mom for that month.
Yeah, I was trying to leave that out, but yeah, she was definitely like our mom.
She would cook for us.
we had that big.
But that's how much that we were working though. We didn't have time to do our laundry. Yeah. We had time to do 2 things: work and sleep. That's it.
Remember when she kicked me in the head and I punched a hole in the door and you're like, Tristan, no!
Yeah. And the Airbnb it's under my name, and I got this huge terrible review on my Airbnb account.
We're playing around at Rustin and she kicked me in the head and I got angry and I was like, and I just get up, punch a hole in the door. It was hilarious. We watched movies and Sim would come out and like try to like crawl into bed with us. And I was like, good job. Because I still didn't even know the dude. Like when we first started, like, because I'm so like, even though we're extrovert, at the same time, I think we both can relate. I as much as we're extroverted, I'm an introvert as well. Like I like my alone time. I like to find that time where I find my peace, and that's for me watching movies. And I remember when we first started, like you'd go to talk to me and I'd like turn a book up. Yeah. I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Don't know you. Yeah, I remember. Don't care. Learn how to sell.
I asked you. I was like, so, how long you been doing this? And we were just driving in the car, and you were like, there was an audiobook on, and I looked at you, and I was like, so, how long you been doing this? And you were like, a year, and then you just started. I was like, what? So, but it's crazy. So, like in 2017, how it was myself and another intern. We drove around the country for 6 months together in one car. So I got to know that person, a lot. But I have spent so much time with you, like, I don't even know how. Like,
dude, in this business, you really.
I mean, we literally. It was like. I've never spent more time with one person than yourself.
Yeah, dog.
Like,
hell yeah.
We were always together, and I mean,
that's the best way to do this business is just get around a good copy, and just be around them as much as you possibly can. Just do what they do, and you'll get what they get. Yeah, and that's exactly what you got.
Yeah, and with this job, I mean, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not a job, even though I just said it was a job. It's not. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
and I see the people that I work with more than my family.
Yeah.
But
the people you work with become family.
yeah, you're not a friend to me. You're family.
Yeah.
Too. And Brody and everyone in that office and
It's just a family. Yeah.
I have. This is the most. I can't even begin to describe how impactful this experience has been to me. Like it's
chaotic. It's an organized chaos because as chaotic as it is day to day. I always tell, and we agree on this, and I think we probably came up with this. It's like the days are long, but the years go fast.
So fast, and it only gets faster.
It only gets faster.
Yeah.
It only gets faster. And so I think of those beginning times, and I think of Tallahassee, just those fun, just those country roads where we're out and just not knowing necessarily where we're going, getting lost, and just finding pre-zones, just fucking around, country music, and going back and forth with the audiobooks and role playing, this, that, whatever, and eating good food, and I think of that back road. You're on that back road, you're going like 60 miles per hour, and I just, you get so like, almost like insane. Like I feel like this would like, kind of like how Heath Ledger like had to sit in that room forever to get insane. And I'm like, it kind of makes you more insane than you already are. And I'm like, there's a bag in that, there's a grocery bag in the right seat, and he's driving, and I'm just like, And we're on this back road, and I put this grocery bag over his head, and he's just like, ah! And then I look up, I'm like, we're gonna fucking die. So I start screaming too, and I'm like, ah!
I don't know why, but like I started swerving, like instead of just keeping it straight. I was
like, there was a car coming. Reminds me of when my grandma wrecked in that winter, and you were like 7, and she was like, "We're crashing!" and fucking flipped my Pap's Mercedes. So they were. My Pap was a hard worker when he got us, but they'd spent so much money getting like my mom out of jail and us getting custody. So like, even though they had leftover like nice stuff, and she ripped that Mercedes apart. We flipped that Mercedes. That was back when I was like 9 or something. My sister was young as hell in the back. She's just yelling at us, "No singing! The police and ambulance are coming! No talking! Look straight! Sit still!" We sat like for 4 hours in winter, like. No, like heat,
upside down or
upside down, and she's like, "That truck ran us off the road." Dude, came back, the truck was like in its regular lane. I'm like, "The hell, dude, Grandma, you're nuts, dude."
But that's our lifestyle.
Life.
That is our life. Like you can't.
Tallahassee was so fun.
You can't make up this stuff. That we've experienced and the stories that we have. That's just one of so many stories, and they just get more crazy. Like. But yeah, 2019 was the best year of my life.
Made 6 figures your first full year. You qualified for President's Club.
Yeah.
Less than like 5% of people. Probably, I think it's a 1% club, honestly, in our company. There's 10,000 people. So you figure 1%, 100 people, might make it. Not even on an annual basis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's got to be like a rolling 3-4 year. 1% of people will qualify. You made it, and then this is the best part. The individual you were training ended up making it. John made it the following year, right? John made it his
first full year.
So 2020, John made it, and that I love how that kind of that legacy, carried on. So John, you gotta make sure you keep that up.
Yeah.
But that was so incredible because your dad was like in his company like a president club earner, and just to be in that club, it was sweet, dude. And I think of what other fun and funny stuff we had. Just it was so crazy.
And I mean, we've learned so many lessons through
because I started to fall in love that year would have been May when I kind of like fell in love with my ex and I learned a lot. I think love, I think a full love of getting it and losing it is probably the biggest lesson you one of the biggest lessons you learn in life, and shout out to people that it's they don't, what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe their first love is their forever love, but we both, you know what I mean? Because later that year would have been when you started to fall in love too, because I remember it was May and then September, October, because we went down to Florida again, or at least I know I did. So,
it was for me, it was mid-January.
Okay, but then
2020.
Okay,
but and like the lessons, like
many lessons
that we learned, and
because I remember being just even as crazy as we were, I thought that like how our crazy system was. I thought like if people didn't run that, they weren't going to be successful, and I just know it was kind of like black and white. There was no gray area, and for those of you that are in sales or getting into life, there's got to be flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, obviously the system that we were operating in is a guaranteed way to get guaranteed X amount of results.
Yeah.
But there's got to be flexibility for people's emotional stability,
For sure.
and for what it is that they want. And that's big lessons I reflect back even to this year, you know, where I've grown out of, and tried my best to growing into a flexible perspective of leadership, of just like loving and balance and long-term perspective of like, it don't have to happen overnight, and not everybody has to fit into the same exact like extreme regimen.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that we were really good at, because like the first half of 2019, it was just pretty much you and I working together, like
We
that
blew up
extreme.
fast.
Yeah. But the first 6 months, it was just kind of like you and I, or 4 or 5 months or
And
whatever.
then we have Brinsley, so
Yeah.
we don't give her enough love. But so between Brinsley and you, we built up the #1 essay deal, and your guys' loyalty. And I remember going out with her, just falling asleep behind the wheel, and she'd be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"We gotta go and knock it."
But we were
I'm on the street.
even though we were running that schedule,
Yeah.
that extreme for a full year.
Yes.
2019, there were no breaks. Like, well, there were breaks,
Dude.
but we I think we did a very good job of
We had a decent balance.
making it fun
Yeah.
while working.
Yeah.
Like we were always laughing, and then we would go on like these weekend trips. We went to Miami for my birthday.
Yeah,
like,
that was sweet.
and like
That was so sweet.
that.
I never had fun like that.
Yeah, I'll never forget that weekend. It was my.
That's when we went back down. So we went back down to work a little bit, and then we had your birthday weekend, and that was insane. We had the Russian dude. That was insane. You
He was from Serbia, Serbian guy.
So Sam books his crazy penthouse.
Yeah.
Gets this Lambo yours, and with this penthouse, this dude's like, you sir, you have to come in the back. You know we do this to Airbnb, but we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You give me the money. Don't get on the camera. You come up here. Don't. He's
We
huge.
had to sneak. He was like a polar bear. We
Yes,
had
way
to,
deeper voice too.
we had to sneak into this high rise in
He
Miami.
definitely pocketed all the money. They pocketed everything down there.
Yeah. And it's this, and that's when Rob and John kind
Rob
of
and John came down. They had to ride scooters.
They were. Oh yeah.
We went to the club.
Yeah. So
We were there until
they were
4,
up in
spent so much
Jacksonville.
money.
We drove from Tampa.
They were
to
like,
Miami.
"Bro, we're not telling anything." We're like, "Shut the hell up!" Long-term perspective.
I remember we got in there. I'll never forget this. So it was like a $1.5 million penthouse that I rented for my birthday, and we walk in, and I'm like looking at the door to come into this place, and I'll never forget Rob's face. Never forget Rob's face. He walked into this place, and he was. I think he just might have turned 18 or something.
Yes.
But again, this selling insurance and like where we work and all that stuff, it is such a different. It's such a contrast from what people are used to before they get into this job. So like Rob, you know, I remember him walking into this penthouse, and his face just like lit up, and he was like speechless.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean we had a blast that weekend.
Tell them that time when we were there and we walked down to go get in the Lambo, and they moved it. Tell them why.
Yeah. Well,
remember?
They oh yeah. So I rented this Lamborghini, and it was the SUV, because there was 4 of us. So I wanted like something that we could all drive around in. So there was this parking garage to this Airbnb, and you know, we parked in there when we were at night or whatever, and we come down. I don't know where. I think we were going to dinner that night.
Yeah.
And we like get to the parking garage, and I like the headlights are on in the car, and the 2 parking lot attendants get out of it, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you in? Like, what are you doing? And they were like, someone was shooting last night, and I was like, what do you mean someone was shooting last night? And they were like, yeah, someone was shooting. We were checking for bullet holes. I was like, in our car specifically, like they were shooting at the Lamborghini, or what? Like what was happening? And they were like, no. Like we there were gunshots. We were looking for bullet holes in the car and all that. And it was in a different spot too. So I know that they drove that car.
Yeah.
And it was yeah, it was in like a completely different spot, and I mean it's like a $250,000 car,
Yeah.
and I was like so confused, and then we go to dinner, and we park it out front, and I mean I couldn't really say anything, but
Yeah.
the valet was like, all right, it's $100. I'm like
Yeah.
$100. And I mean, I know that they just jack up the price because
Yes.
it's a nice car. So, and we walk out, and it's literally right in front of the door. And I'm like, you didn't move it. And they were leaning on it, too. And I was like, no one has respect for this car. But no, we had a blast that weekend. And we went jet skiing. And I feel like we've had a couple...
Dude yelled at Rob with the jet ski. He was like, your friend.
Yeah.
Your friend, senor. Your friend is a bitch.
Yeah, we
Just
were
kept splashing him.
We were flying.
Everything was under the table.
Yeah, to this day, I don't know if like we were being used as drug mules for that.
Did you come to Sarasota with us ever when we went to visit Olivia and Alexis? We were trying to sell in Sarasota. Remember that?
What? When we went? Oh yeah. When we went jet skiing down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
the manatees in the back and shit.
That was right.
We were fishing.
That was right before we went up to Tallahassee to start selling. We went down. We drove to Sarasota first.
Yes.
Spent like 2 days down there. And then we went up to Tallahassee.
And then February, building up to Tallahassee in March, so it'll flash back because his birthday was October. So
yeah, I mean
Nebraska.
Yeah.
We get out to Nebraska. So Simon tells us, hey, look, you guys are going to open an office. I was working with Simon for the last 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Sam just made presidents come, made $100,000. He's like, all right, you got a decent leadership core. We're expanding. We're going to open offices. And we thought we were getting sent to Florida. Now, me and Sam just. It's never a matter of what we want. We've always just kind of said, what do you want?
Yeah.
And so we put it in his hands. We're like, all right, dope. We're about to go open up an office in Florida. And we go to Lincoln, Nebraska. So we sell everything, spend all our money. We probably had like $20,000 saved up. Both of us had like 20 racks or something because now we have our expenses and all that, investing back into the business to build our teams and everything. And spend all our money, break our leases. We take Rob and John. That was hilarious. Almost fight. We had Nick. I'd box Nick every morning. And so we go out there. We all get a house, which was big. It was fun. It was awesome. And
it was a nice house, too.
It was a nice house. But the first night for New Year's.
Oh, my God.
Where we had a couple drinks on New Year's. Rob and John were in there. We had Anthony Wilheimer and...
We left.
I think I like accidentally, purposely, like called the police, and they come up and they tap on my boot, and I'm like, I ran up, jumped in his bed. Sam's sitting in the bed, and I jumped in his bed, and they're like, they said you called the police. I was like, yeah, I tried to call my mom. They're like,
we drove out to Nebraska the day after Christmas, December 26th, 2019, is when we drove out to Nebraska, and it was Lincoln, Nebraska, and we spent New Year's Eve. We got this like big suite in Omaha, and that was crazy. That was a crazy night, but yeah,
it was insane.
It was wild.
It was insane. So we get out there, we get that set up, and it was crazy. You went out there first though.
Yeah, Brody and I.
You and Brody and Katie, you guys went out there, picked out the office, and it was insane. We got that all set up, and then. Within 3 months, we had everything established. Had a solidified core, and
and that was
we lost a big player, who was part of the deal that wasn't like doing shit legitimately, and so all of that business ended up coming off, and that was scary because I was like, dude, my quality the following year, and we just skated by with grace of God and Brody, just so freaking intelligent and. Just really good people.
Yeah.
Being surrounded by good people kind of help secure that, and then you experience that loss, and that's going to transition into my story. I want to get into the ayahuasca because that's when you started to experience just life lessons.
Yeah, for sure.
Life lessons for sure. Like we look back and it's like painful in the moment, but lessons in the reflection. So painful in the moment, lessons in the reflection. As that all transpired, we get Nebraska popping. I remember that being painful for me. I'm in a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
Never, been well. Like nothing's ever made me emotional aside from
I mean, you were there with me with going through like just being in a long distance relationship and that the confusion with that and the pain with that, trying to run a build a business.
I think you and I are very similar in that aspect.
Yeah,
like
that's like there's nothing that we're emotional about, but when we love hard.
Yeah,
we love hard. That's all it is. Like we have our friends and everything like that, but we know people come and go, life comes and goes. But I think we both kind of got hit with that, and mine kind of went on a little longer, and just recently, I think it's been almost half a year now for me. But with you, you ended up probably doing it a little bit better with just addressing that emotional trauma immediately, and finding that solution. What was ayahuasca like, and what even led you to that? Like, how did you get inspired?
So ayahuasca didn't happen. Me going and doing ayahuasca in Central America, that happened in this year, January. This year.
Because you went to Cali. You were traveling. You were meditating. You were.
So no, I don't. Well, you could call it medit. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, you were in a fucked up state.
2020 was. I mean, anything you go through in life, it's valuable. There's always a lesson behind it, and even though you don't see it in the moment, there's always a reason why. So, 3 things happened to me in 2020 that made me feel completely lost and completely not like myself.
Yeah.
Got into a relationship. I moved back from Nebraska back home.
Mm-hmm.
Got out of a relationship. That's number 2. And then I had health changes. Not life-threatening, but definitely life-altering, but health changes. So, and when you have your life kind of planned out, and like you think you're going to be on this path, and then it completely changes, I was completely lost. I was not myself in the slightest. I was so unhappy. I was so depressed. Yeah. Like it was terrible. I don't wish it upon anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And all those 3 things, all those 3 factors combined, that's what was really.
And your life up to that point, like that was like you and I talked. I was like, I admire you so much. And I remember you telling me, and I was like, what has you so focused and motivated and just so well rounded? And you had a conversation with your dad. I think it was at one point. He's like, there's two reasons why people are motivated and focused, and that's desperation and inspiration.
Correct.
And for you, it was the inspiration. It was like desperation, where it's like, I felt there. Not if you read Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, my life isn't hell compared to Holocaust survivors, people that have their families murdered and just lose it all. You know what I mean? There was some adversity there, but there wasn't much adversity for you in some sense, and so it all hit you. It all like hit you like a
because it was like my life leading up to 2020 was just like this upward like
a stock split.
It was like everything was I was like, is my life ever gonna get am I ever gonna go through some shit? Because it just kept getting better and better and better. So I was completely lost. I lost my sense of self. I lost all motivation. I lost just so much, and through that, I just would do anything to kind of, I guess, numb the emotional pain. I remember there were days that I just slept all day. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do it. I didn't even want to be with my thoughts. Yeah. I would just sleep, because that was the only time that my mind was not just in a negative state. Yeah. I just wanted to be out of it.
I think that's what hurts me the most in today's day and age, is that there's so many solutions, and I guess for lack of intelligence and lack of words, like vaccines for things. But when it comes to mental health, with losing someone really close to me, and in a weird way, but just very close to me, to mental health, and then to see you experience it and not be able to just to go through all of this leadership development and think that man, maybe I'm an okay leader, and not be able to help is crushing. And then I think of all the other people that have lost their lives or just experiencing mental health, and what do we have? A suicide hotline? What I'm talking on an extreme end, but it's what do we have for mental health? And so it's so messed up. in regard to how we treat and how we're there for people when it comes to mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was, and like I said, I would do anything to get away from my emotional state, or just whatever, whether it was sleeping all day, or I just did a ton of traveling. Like I was all over the country in 2020, and no matter what I was doing, it like made me feel good for a second.
Yeah.
Not even good, but better. And then it would go away, and I was right back in that depressive state.
Yep.
And I was like, what is this? Like, I couldn't focus on work. I couldn't. I wasn't determined whatsoever. I was putting so much pressure on myself to be like back to what I was, or all this other stuff, and it was so painful, and
just trying to find your peace again, because you had it, you knew what it, and we create what I love about our company is we make a lot of people a lot of money, but we've got this family culture, and you knew, and you knew we were family, but you couldn't find that family peace again in the midst of that loss, because you were between Brody and myself, and because now we were separated and such, and it was an awkward state. It was awkward. It was a very awkward state, and towards the end of 2020, because at that point, honestly, like, I was so lost. I was like, I don't know where to even be.
Is this even is selling life insurance even what I'm still gonna do, and like all this other stuff, and I took a lot of I didn't work a lot in 2020, and I was still depressed, and it was creeping up towards the end of the year. And I obviously traveling and blowing money wasn't sustainable. So
you came back, and we were in this big ass house, and that wasn't healthy, because now we're in a crowded house again. Because we moved to Chicago, we're in a crowded house again. I'm sleeping on the kitchen floor. You're sleeping in front of a fireplace. There's no privacy.
And it's a huge transitional period for yourself as well. So it's like when I've always in
and
life
the same
and in this
time,
business,
what you were going through the same time. That's when we lost our boy.
And so it was coming towards the end of 2020, and I was just not getting better, and my doctor suggested taking antidepressants, and
I remember begging you not to take them. I was so scared of them.
And I didn't want to take them. I didn't want to take them, and I don't know how. So this actually goes back to 2017. I was in Los Angeles working for that nonprofit, and I was out on the street in Los Angeles, and we were helping out with another nonprofit organization where we would like make food for homeless people and give it out and stuff like that. And we were like standing by this food truck, and this guy comes up to me. I don't even know how. And it's funny how things will like later come into your life, like how everything's connected. So I was standing there at this food truck in 2017, and this guy came up to me, and we got into this conversation, and he was like, he was telling me about how he did ayahuasca. 2017, yeah.
That's so crazy.
And I was so intrigued by it, like so intrigued, and I was like, well, like, how was it all of a sudden? He's like, it changed my life completely. At the time, his wife or his girlfriend of so many years had passed away, and he really struggled with depression and all that, and just like that helped him so much. And when I found out about it, I was always very interested in it after that, from that point onward. And for anyone who is listening and who doesn't know what ayahuasca is, it's a liquid form of DMT, which is the most powerful psychedelic known to man. So, and it's DMT is a chemical that's naturally produced in our bodies. We only get 2 bursts of it.
And it's a plant. And I believe the origin is Amazon, like the Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. So, well, ayahuasca. So it's a brew. It's
Okay.
like a I don't want to say a tea, but it's you drink it.
Yep.
And so ayahuasca or DMT, it's a chemical that is in every living organism.
Yep.
No matter what living organism there is, there's some form of DMT in it. There's a trace of DMT in it, and they call it the spirit molecule because people believe that chemical is what connects us to the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
And I was always very intrigued by it and interested in it, but I didn't feel like it was the right time for me to do it.
Yeah.
So, fast forward to 2020, in November of 2020, I found this place in Costa Rica. It's called Rhythmia, and it's a place it's a retreat in Costa Rica where you spend a week and you do 4 ayahuasca ceremonies, and I mean, in that single week, and I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about it, but in that single week, it completely changed my life and it brought me back to who I was before 2020. In 7 days, and I'm not making this up. In 7 days, this place completely changed my life, and I found it. I found this place. I was just like watching videos about it on YouTube or whatever, like ayahuasca and DMT, and this place came up, and I was again immediately drawn to this place. I was pulled towards it, kind of like how I was pulled towards talking to Simon. And I just knew this place was going to help me because even watching videos about it, like on YouTube and like people like giving testimonials about it and all these things, that would make me feel better. Like that would make me feel so much better. And it was like the last $5,000 I had to my name. Because I just blew every single dime that I had on random trips and expensive dinners.
Soul searching.
And I spent this money, and I remember telling my dad about it. I was sitting down on the recliner, and he like came upstairs from the basement, and I was like, yeah, like I'm going to Costa Rica, and he like got pissed at me.
Yeah, I know.
Because he just thought it was another trip with no meaning behind it, that I was just going to go spend a bunch of money and all this other stuff. And I just like broke down. Like I was just like, this is not what you think it is. I have to go here. And I went and I did 4 ceremonies of ayahuasca, and like I said, it completely turned my life around 100%. And kind of how I was talking about, like, DMT, the chemical, is found in every living organism. And it's DMT is naturally produced in the human body. However, in your life, there's only 2 times that there's a heavy burst of it in the human body. Once when you're born and once when you pass away. With the exception of doing it, like smoking DMT or drinking ayahuasca. That's the only exception of having a big, release of this chemical. And so I go down there, and it is it's heaven on earth. It's the most beautiful place I've ever been to. And I do it, and just like that.
When you're going through those trips, what was the most impactful thing that you visualized and felt? Like I always, because I've done a lot of videos on it to kind of still anxious and scared on the psychedelics, get stuck in a continual trip. But like I hear a lot of like the jaguar, like people hear jaguars, and it kind of links to like that spiritual realm of like, obviously with the, like you were saying, the Amazonian, like, I don't know where the hell the Amazon where it originated and everything, and it kind of links to all the people that they like feed their kids out there in those fucking jungles. But what about you?
Well, before I get into it, and the reason why I went down again on top of that to do ayahuasca is prior to Western medicine and like antidepressants and all
Yeah.
these different things. And again, not saying that that's bad,
Yeah.
but prior to, again, Western medicine and all these medical advancements and all these different things, the earth provided and
Yeah.
still does everything that humans need.
Exactly.
You know?
I feel way much better about that than if and again I'm not against antidepressants either. My mom takes antidepressants, but it's like I still.
And this is yes, we're talking about it during this podcast.
But check out his podcast.
Yeah,
He's got a 2
I
hour,
did
3 hour.
3 hour. I did a 3-part, 3 hour, really in depth on it.
Yeah.
But and one of the things I said in that podcast is one of the things, Western medicine typically it focuses on treating the symptoms, but not the root cause.
Yeah.
While as with ayahuasca and that whole experience, and it wasn't just ayahuasca, it was all like the classes that we did in the integration classes and all these different
This was
things.
professionally done, so I recommend that in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a very controlled environment and like all these different things, and that's it got to the root of it. It solved the root of it. Because I'm a firm believer in that, and I'm sure you agree to this as well, is that all like disease and anything that's physically wrong with someone or all, it stems from emotional trauma.
Yeah.
Like there's a
chakras, and we used to listen to. I used to have the energy, the vibrations.
Yeah,
so stuff that I'm still believing is the hertz. And
yeah, there's and it got to the root of it in 7 days.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, like the craziest thing that I saw or whatever, I mean, you can have the most and I did.
Yeah,
the
just
most
wicked.
crazy out of people because and they said this when I was down there. They said people who have had near-death experiences or who have, passed away and have come back to life, and those people who go and do ayahuasca, those people say that it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, if you die and come back to life, it's exactly what you experienced while doing ayahuasca.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's different for everyone, but I saw a lot of crazy things, but more so what it taught me was, and what's funny in life is we already know the answer to it. Like we already have all the answers, and it sounds cliche, but it's true. Like, one of the biggest lessons that it taught me was that there is a reason for everything, and the way to one of the biggest keys to life is not, how do I want to say this? Releasing control.
Yeah.
It's up to the higher power.
Yeah.
Like it is, and there is, even though a situation may seem difficult in the moment, there's always a reason for it. And what it did was it basically scared me so much to the point of you have to just let go. You have to let go and trust the universe.
Yeah.
And trust the higher power, whatever you believe in, that life is happening for you, not to you.
Yeah.
That was the number one lesson that I got from it. On top of that, I mean, letting go of an immense amount of resentment.
Yeah.
Towards some people
and life.
Yeah, life yourself, and letting go of regret, and it sounds crazy, but I experienced what heaven was like. I experienced what hell was like. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Met so many incredible people from all over the world.
Yeah.
I went there by myself, and 90% of people go to this place. They go alone.
Yeah.
And people from all over the world. And in 7 days, it completely changed my life, and I've never been happier.
I mean, before you went down there, because we had connected a little bit, and you fell in love with the 48th law, and it's from 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
And maybe touch on before we kind of wrap up and bring up to present date and share a few things on
Yeah.
the 48th law, and it's being in that fluid state.
Yeah.
And what does that mean to you? Because you really held on to that.
Yeah.
We went and got tattoos. So what is that? What did that mean to you? Because you really held on to that.
It's interesting that you brought that up, and it's crazy because that's the biggest lesson that I learned through doing ayahuasca.
Letting go and be fluid.
Yeah, letting go and just letting life be, and you've said this. Life is a dance. It is a dance, and you gotta enjoy it. Like, it's just better if you enjoy it.
Just
You
dance
know.
with it.
Yeah.
Like sales.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was December. It was right around this time last year. We had just moved to this office in Chicago.
Yep.
And I was in, again, a terrible mental state. And
Yep.
I would just, instead of working, I would just sit in a corner and just read.
Yeah. That was the only thing that kept you from being in those horrible thoughts.
Yeah, reading and sleeping.
Yep.
And I started reading the book 48 Laws of Power, and I went through that book like crazy. Underwrite.
And it's Ikigai, and it is so it's 4 things. And Landon Campbell, he shared it with me from in their 20s.
Yeah.
And so it's this Japanese philosophy, and there's and I'll show you the picture. I'm gonna share it with you too. And there's 4 bubbles, and they're built around passion, mission, vocation, and profession.
Okay.
What do you love? What the world needs? What you can be paid for?
Mm-hmm.
What you are good at?
Mm-hmm.
And in the center is your Ikigai.
Mm-hmm.
So operating in what do you love?
Yeah.
Operating in what the world needs,
Mm-hmm.
selflessness. Operating in what you can be paid for, selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you good at? Again, kind of corresponds back into, but it's finding self.
Yeah.
And I think, and I want to share 2 great things that I got from that Maxwell event. Is for some reason he always lines it up where somebody comes and talks about. I love how he does with the mental health and psychology, and I forget the gentleman's name specifically, but he had asked, and he was talking about Viktor Frankl,
Mm-hmm.
and he was saying, when you reflect on the horrible things that you've went through, if you could think about the worst thing that you ever experienced, would you delete it? And I'm asking you, it's an open-ended question. Would you delete the worst thing that you went through?
Absolutely not.
And so when I don't know if he does therapy for individuals, but this is a question that he asks individuals that are going through very hard things or struggling with death and loss and just horrible things in life. It's like, if you wouldn't delete it, why are you spending that emotion and energy on it? Because it's who you are.
Yeah.
It's a part of you.
Yeah.
And finding meaning in yourself, and I'll try to find it in my notes. But it was so good, and I was like, why don't we change our perspectives more often of asking questions like that, of like,
Mm-hmm.
if I wouldn't delete the worst thing that I've went through because it's a piece of me, it's a part of me, it helped form who I am now, why am I spending energy on it? And I thought that was fire. That was so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it, I think if someone would have asked me that question in the present, like when I was experiencing that, I would have said yes, 100%.
Yes.
But I believe it's vital for people to understand that, yes, whatever you may be going through in life, it may be extremely difficult and, excruciating, but, right after the lowest lows are the highest highs. And everything, again, is meant to better you. So in the moment, if I would have been asked that question, I would have said, yes, delete this, get me back to who I am. But looking back, and I feel like people say this pretty often, turns out the worst thing, the most difficult thing that you've experienced in life turns out to be the best thing.
Yes.
So it's important, I believe, to have that patience and long-term perspective, and like, hey, this is where you're going through, even though you can't see it right now. You may not see it in a couple months, you may not see it in a couple years, but you're gonna see why you went through it.
Yes. So I think it was Donald Miller. And he did. He opened up with psychology and just like the mental state. And he said sometimes we're looking out of our minds like a theater, and the cameras are our eyes, and nothing is happening, and you're bored, and you're not happy, and it's called a narrative void because there's nothing going on in your life, and you're visualizing it through your cameras, and it's almost like you're empty in here. And there's nothing going on, and you find it's this narrative void. And he called it an existential. And so Viktor Frankl calls it an existential vacuum. And I'm not this smart, so I had to look up existential, and it's like external. So it's like you're living this life, and you feel yourself living it, but externally, you feel as if you're not living it, like you're imprisoned.
Yeah.
Like the worst prison isn't a physical prison; it's the prison of the mind, of your heart and soul. And he said there's dangerous seasons, and he said. We've just finished living our cultural scripts would be a season. So we just like you just concluded a cultural script. So like this is a key reason that they've pieced together psychologically in regard to why do people fall into states of depression and narrative voids and emptiness. The next would be we've just finished living a story but haven't gotten a new story started. So story's ended, but what's the next story?
Yeah.
And then the third was we are living a story that does not involve our family or people we are responsible to do life with. So either you're finished living a cultural script. So there's a lot of I think there's if you look at the suicide rate, especially with COVID and the pandemic and really locking people up, which just they don't have access to good people like you and I and just or even the mental not even a lack of capacity but of like just the seeds of knowing that like we were already on vibrations and certain things where we could do videos and research and certain things like that, but like these and it's not the parents' fault, but it's almost like the media and this agenda of like you gotta be rich and you gotta go live on your own and you gotta be here and you gotta look like this and talk like that and you need this. And it's like I love the formlessness in the 40th law because you need nothing. You need, and I think I was trying to express that at certain times I've gotten like a grasp and haven't been the best at conveying it, but it's like I feel like you truly have everything when you have acceptance of nothing. It's like I feel like everything comes around. It's like if I was really stripped down to nothing, I would find myself in a state of do I abandon or do I appreciate that I still have something which would just be the control of myself.
Yeah.
And he goes into saying, what do we do to start filling this void? What we do is we start filling this void with bad things.
Yeah.
So what if we let fate take the wheel and we were actually much more in control of our experience than we previously believed? And he said fate is a terrible writer. So he said how to get narrative traction, and it'll wrap up here, but it says when you get interested in a story is when you get narrative traction. So and he explained it so beautifully. He was talking about movies. He's like anytime you get intrigued with a movie, it's not when everything's going well for the hero. It's when the hero's getting like destroyed.
Yeah, when
you know what I mean? Everything's going wrong. Someone's dying, someone's breaking up, something's lost. Something happens in the story that makes you wonder, how is this thing going to turn out?
Yeah.
That's what we got so obsessed with insurance because we don't know what the hell is going on. We're faced with challenge after challenge. We don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
And he said you lose narrative traction in your life when you let someone else write or influence your story. But that's so key if anybody listens this far deep. And it's so true. And he said next, what if life isn't meaningless, but what you have done with life is meaningless? What if life isn't meaningless, but what you have done with life is meaningless? And then he gave a few steps on how to experience a deep sense of meaning in life. Number 1, a vision for a better future. Number 2, an interest in the world outside of ourselves. Number 3, a willingness to engage conflict. 3 is so powerful. Engaging in your conflict. And then this is where he came up with the favorite movie, ask yourself, is the hero having a good time? No, he's getting faced with challenge after challenge after challenge. Only way to make a good movie is to throw challenge after challenge at the hero. And then here's what he said, if you could delete the hardest memory from your life, would you? Most say no. Why? Because it means you got something from it.
Yeah.
It means you got something from it.
Yeah.
So get outside of yourself.
That's beautiful.
So I thought that was fire.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this is.
And then he ended with this is the best part. What does this make possible? Start asking yourself in every situation, what does this make possible? When someone dies, what does this make possible? when you go through separation, what does this make possible? When you're experiencing something horrible and you have to take a new journey, and you have to reroute, adjust, and adapt, and dance.
Yeah.
What does this make possible?
I forget where I heard this, but, and again, this might sound cliche as well, but an end to one thing is just merely the beginning of the next thing.
Yes.
And it's just this
Yes.
constant, like, end of something. And that's what makes life so incredible is, what's going to be born tomorrow. What is going to come from this opportunity? What is going to come from doing this or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we bring it up to today, and in my opinion, I feel like you're kind of like day one Sam that I knew, but even better.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're equipped with more lessons from life than you ever have been, and it's dope. It's dope to see you, because fruitfulness and fullness in life is measured by one thing, and I truly believe by truly one thing only that's not perishable, and it's a measure of a man or woman's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Fullness will always be within
Mm-hmm.
before it's without.
Mm-hmm.
And so your fullness, because everybody's seen very successful individuals have a smile and the next day be on the news for they're no longer here because they weren't happy.
Yeah.
Right. So I see that fullness and I feel that fullness in you, and obviously only you can really tell. But you just had that trip, and I think of the dope trips you had, but your favorite, I don't know what it would be. One of my favorites was watching you go on that was it. Where did you just go? Iceland? Recently?
I was just in Iceland in June, and then I just got back from Italy.
I like the Iceland world. Italy, I love it. You called me. I was like, dude, I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. You lied. Like, well, I fell into Venetian. Where the hell did you fall?
I fell into the canal in Venice. Yeah, I was kayaking. I fell into the canal.
Did it smell in that water? People tell me that water smells.
I mean, it wasn't like I wouldn't like choose to go swimming in it.
There's not dolphins in it and shit?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lagoon like it was. But
what was your favorite trip? We'll wrap up here.
my favorite trip, Costa Rica, for sure.
Okay.
Outside of that,
Yeah.
Venice was beautiful. Venice was the most beautiful.
I like that. I
city
eat those that ice hot tub and shit in Iceland, like that.
the Blue Lagoon.
Yeah, wherever you're at.
Iceland is
Where's the place with the white monkeys in the hot water?
that's not Iceland.
Where is it? You know what I'm talking about? You ever
like-
seen the picture
I
of
think
them?
like Southeast Asia maybe.
Dude.
But one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life was a volcano erupting in Iceland. That was I went on like this long hike, and there's recently a couple months ago a volcano started erupting, and like those are the moments that I live for, like the moments where it's just like you're just like in awe and like and I remember hiking, like climbing up this huge like big hill, and it was like after 2 hours of walking out in the middle of nowhere, and I just see this mountain. Just imagine this like huge waterfall, but it's lava. Yeah, it's glowing red, and that was one of the coolest things I've seen. But while traveling, but yeah, it's like you said, it's life is the most important thing in someone's life is how full their heart is, and like I've never been happier. I've never been more full. I've never been more excited about the future, and it's good to it's cool to be here. It's cool to be in this room and talking about it, and talking with you about it.
Yes.
So
I'm putting in my group too, just the cool things that we get.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking here, and I don't know if it makes sense. And as we're talking, I'm like, we hear some cliche sayings, and this could be a cliche one that we could use. And I feel like life, truly isn't what happens to you, but what you happen to life.
Mm.
It's not what happens to you. It's not that big payday, and it's not that big day of depression of when you lose someone or you lose something. It's what are you happening to life?
Yeah.
What is your response within? We can control.
Yeah.
and being formless to the things we can control. And that's where the dancing comes into place, because when it's your time to tango, it's controlling what can you control. But life's gonna dance right back.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to let go and let life
Yeah.
control you.
Yeah. One of the coolest things I've ever heard, and I hope I get it right, but the saying that so like I said, I forget who said this, but they said we're not humans. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
I love that.
And like that's every day I'm so excited, and like you feel it. Like you feel the energy. You feel like in every day we're getting to experience these just moments of like, wow, this is, it feels like, honestly, like my life has been a dream.
A dream.
Like
movie.
it, like
It's
like
a movie.
it's like, and I'm not like, I'm just, that's.
And what people need to realize is everyone's life is a movie.
Exactly.
If you're out there and maybe you're thinking, well, I relate to Sam. I never had any adversity, and now I'm going through some. Reach out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know in a heartbeat. Despite us being busy, both of us take the time of the day. I know he's talked to a lot of people who've reached out. In regard to his ayahuasca experience, and a lot of people just kind of what we assume is based off of these beautiful lives we all present on social media,
Mm-hmm.
that there aren't demons just lurking around in every single one of us, and that's a lie. I got them. You got them. Don't be ashamed to reach out, because it doesn't happen on your own. Anybody that thinks that
Absolutely.
Internal success even and external success happens on your own.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean to you, but that's ego. Let it go. You need to reach out. And be vulnerable and open to people, because there's no way you're going to navigate through this crazy thing we call life.
Yeah.
Navigate through this crazy thing we call life.
Yeah.
Without being friends with somebody, finding somebody, and putting the time in to develop that common ground and grow with somebody.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to add is, and kind of tying it back, how like, we're in insurance and we're like in this business. When I first started here, I thought it was just about selling insurance and making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah.
But the lessons that I've learned and the experiences that I've gained and the people that I've met and the relationships that have built over these past couple years have been so valuable and life-changing. Like, making a lot of money or making decent money is just a very small byproduct of what you're actually going to get through working at an organization like ours.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy the amount of stuff that I've gained from this, and I've been able, like, the opportunity to be able to help others
Absolutely.
as well. So
as we wrap up, because we got dinner.
Yeah.
We love to eat, and we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on food. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to eat? And that's a hard
that
question to ask
you
somebody
and
like
I
us.
have been to, or just in general?
In general, I want to say you're gonna say like some Nobu in Cali or something.
You know what?
Mine's an Apple Prime still.
I mean, you and I love steak. Probably the best food restaurant I've ever had is at a restaurant in the Palms in Las Vegas. It's a steak restaurant. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Something like Steak 88 or something. I don't know, but it was the best steak I've ever had in my entire life. And it wasn't Wagyu. It was just like a fillet or something. But it was incredible. Napa Prime, always good, never fails. And then I always like Nobu.
And then the last thing before we really wrap up is, I still ask, but with you I kind of know. Is your favorite movie still Bronx Tale, or is something else worked up? You got a top 3? Maybe it's easier for me to ask a lot of people, movie lovers like me.
No. Favorite movie still to this day is Bronx Tale. I'm Italian, and it's an Italian. I like mob movies, Italian mob movies. But also, Robert De Niro plays in that movie.
Looks a lot like his dad.
I did, like, identical
Yeah.
to my father.
Yeah.
How my father looked. Yeah, and you know, I love that movie. That's one of my favorites. But yeah.
So, as we wrap up, this will probably go down in history. You know, as I hope as this podcast grows, as you know, my favorite episode ever. You know what I mean? Because you've brought so much value outside of the business, just to my life as a friend, as a brother, you know, and even beyond that. And you know, I think the only person I can compete is when I get to do a podcast with Joe Rogan. But 30, hopefully before he dies, you know, it may take 20 years or whatever. But you know, also if you guys are interested, financial services industry, so Sam's in that as well. You can find him on Instagram at Sam Marzula.
Mm-hmm.
Is there it's two M's or is it just one M? Sam Marzula. So SAMARZULA, and then you can reach out for financial advice,
life
advice, whatever you guys need. Anything else you want to shout out, or
I mean, we covered a lot. You know,
any books you want to recommend for people?
48 Laws of Power.
48 Laws of Power, obviously.
Yeah, and that one I definitely recommend. Yeah, I mean, you know, closing it out. Thank you to you, you know, for everything. You know, like you said, what was the saying? The days are long, but the years go fast.
Years go fast.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the future. Yeah. And you know, like I said, thank you to you, and thank you to Brody and Simon and everyone involved.
Everybody.
Like, this is just,
we love everybody.
You know,
the Arias family.
Yeah.
Brody, like our grandpa Brody.
Brody doesn't get enough credit.
No.
Brody
He's so
is
quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet, loving asshole is what he is. He is probably up there with one of the best leaders I've ever had in my life. Like I could tear up right now. I don't cry about shit.
Yeah.
Just thinking about how fucking great and how humble and passionate he is. Right up there with Simon for me. And you can see it in the results, in the relationships.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I had to start all over, there's nobody in this world I would want to start over.
Yeah.
You know, than to be with Brody.
Yeah.
Brody Hudson.
He's one of the best individuals I've ever met.
Yeah.
In my entire life.
So and he got that down where I didn't have like the like the heart part down, and he's not an emotional dude.
I don't know how he does it.
He's just this patient. I've never seen him yell. He's never yelled at me. Many times could have just snapped, and you know, obviously we've both been really good hard workers.
Yeah.
And just coachable and everything, but I've never like, unless somebody like even then, like he's just like just a patient, awesome, you know, and Katie as well. Katie, shout out to you and Brinsley. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of great people. We could spend all day. We got so many fucking great people. So that's it. We wrapped up with my favorite episode. 2.5 hours it looks like. So that felt like 2 fucking minutes.